search engine optimizers have been facilitating a relationship between the human being and the machine for as long as it existed. It's always been changing.
Now we're seeing the true golden age of search. We have the actual blend between humans and robots using the same technology to find the answers they're looking for. Well, I don't think that SEO is going anywhere anytime soon. I think that everybody would agree that it's just getting a facelift. From everything that we've been seeing for the last 8 months, where we've actually seen the effects of AI search or chat answer engine optimization, if you want to call it that, is that the fundamentals that SEO has basically had since 2016, 2017 is the same stuff that the chatbots need, right? We need authority. We need to answer questions. We need to be talking about the things that people are asking about, right? And so I think that smart SEOs have already understood this and rebranded themselves as an AEO or AISO or whatever it is. And they're not looking back because they're just continuing to do the same thing. So it's really just a rebrand of the industry.
Yep, I would add to that. First of all, we still don't know how it's called. So when you are saying rebranding, let's decide what we are rebranding into. I have on my LinkedIn, I have all those new acronyms: GEO, AEO, AEO, because we're still looking for the new term if we need it. We're not even sure if we need a new term. What I was about to say is that I don't remember where I heard that, but search engine optimizers have been facilitating a relationship between the human being and the machine for as long as it existed. It's always been changing. It's not the first change we've seen. We are just continuing doing the same thing. Yes, it's changing in terms of search behavior, search expectations, search output, but it's not like it's still organic channel that we're going to optimize for, and we're figuring that out. So I'm not sure it needs to stop being called SEO even. Yes, it's not so much about search anymore, but AI agents also search. We just add a bad audience to optimize for, and that's the only change and not the first one. Yes, that's probably the fastest change in the industry because usually everything was very gradual. And now like in 2 years, everything like boom, boom, boom. New AI answers, new AI integrations in search results, new AI platforms. Now they search. 1 year ago, they were not even searching. So it's changing fast, but it's not like the first change we've seen. And I would just go with SEO for as long as we can because everyone knows the term.
Well, I think that answer engine optimization will better categorize what we do because it will affect more things than just Google, Bing, Yahoo in that right there. I just hope that AISO does not actually take hold. So if we can all just agree to call it AEO, if we're going to call it anything other than SEO, that'd be great.
I really don't have a preference. You just decide at it, and I will just leave that acronym on my LinkedIn. That's how I roll. Someone please decide. With SEO, what happened? Google adopted the term and started calling it SEO, and that's how it became a thing. I feel like something like this needs to happen in our industry as well. Someone big should start saying that, start sending guidelines, creating guidelines. At this point, Google is very consistent with calling it SEO. All their reps are saying is still SEO, and I don't mind that. It's not exactly search. It's broader now, but if it's SEO, I do that.
Well, and there's a lot of moving pieces to that as well. So I don't think even with the great bounds that the AI has made going forward, I don't know that it will be able to capture everything in a whole, right? So there's so many moving pieces to what we do every day. I'm not sure that will, and it may, right? That's exciting about what this is and how they're building it. But yeah, I don't know, because it seems like that human element, when you do some of this work and you get your gut feeling and you do look at all the data, I feel like that experience really adds a lot to what we do. And we're connecting with the customers and we're understanding what they do and how they feel about their brand and what they're doing. And I don't think that's something that AI is going to be able to pick up on. So I think we're not out of a job. Is what I was saying. I think we still got a lot of work to do.
Oh no, I just say SEO is changing its platform now, right? And we're going to be seeing, and I think every one of us saw that last year coming. We just didn't know how fast they were going to be when they had their hiccups with Gemini the first time go around it and all that. Because I was like, is Google going to be able to keep up with the rest of them, right? And now I think that they're seeing their niche, right? As they integrate it into the complete ecosystem of the workspace, right? Google Workspace, and how it can handle all of that. But then, we're seeing the reports where they're going to change the entire face of the Google search engine. And that is going to be super exciting because, there's a lot of bad marketers who like to ruin everything. So the rest of us will get to see how that all unfolds, right?
Well, I wouldn't call them bad. I would say that.
Oh no, there's a lot of bad marketers out there. I will say that.
But that's the point. And I was there when SEO was born almost. And all the black hat SEOs were actually pioneers of just discovering all the loopholes in the algorithm and being in the front line. I actually have a lot of respect for those people. But at this point, I'm not sure how we're going to call it, because whatever name you choose, it's a little bit limiting, like answer engine optimization. It's not just about the answers. It's also about relevance engineering, if you want to call it. Your brand is very relevant everywhere, not just on their side, to existing problems that it's solving, and knows how the product is being positioned. So it's not just answers. It's definitely not just LLM optimization. I'm hearing that it's maybe not going to be LLM based in the future. It's just the first thing that they can come up with. So we will see about the term, but it's definitely organic findability still, however we want to call it. And if someone is going to figure that out, that's going to be SEOs for sure, because we've been doing that for more than 2 decades at this point.
I think that because you have AI agents and the chatbots are going to be harder to trick because they weight the actual share of voice on a topic. And you can't fake that, right? Because they can check so many things so fast. And my problem is that we now can't track what is and isn't working with chat, right? We can't say, oh, you've shown up this many times. All I can do is go, hey, by the way, I was doing some research on your account the other day. And oh, by the way, you showed up in 3 different chats that I did with Gemini. I mean, that's all you can do, right? That's the challenge now, is the attribution of SEO.
Well, it's funny that you said that it's going to be not easy to manipulate them. It is so easy now. So I want to know, all those spamilisticals, there's new business models to just sell your brand name among other brand names in one list, or reviews, or just for the fun of that, I changed my little blog's title into top SEO, and I stopped showing for that prompt who are the top SEO. So at this point, it's actually going back to when SEO started, when things like that worked, and we already forgot how it was fun. But I agree with you. It's definitely going to change. They are maturing very fast. They are now searching what 2 years ago, what should have taken a month of searching and research. Now they're doing that in 2 minutes. That's definitely the biggest change. They're running searches, they're compiling all of that information in one answer, And that happens like 2 to 5 minutes. And that's it. You can ask follow-up questions. Don't have to do all that journey that we used to optimize for. Now it's all in one answer. And I feel like that is the biggest change. It's not canceling SEO. It's emphasizing it, because now you have to just do more and track more. It's not just top 10 search results that you have to worry about, because there is very little overlap between rankings and citations and AI answers. But it's still the same thing. You have to know where you're mentioned, how you're linked to, how relevant you are to certain prompts. So it's not the first change, but definitely one of the biggest and fastest we've seen.
I find all this so exciting. I got into SEO in 2016. And whenever I meet SEOs who have been in the field longer, I always want to be like, oh my gosh, like what was it like back in the golden days? Like what was Mobilegeddon like? Like what was that morning like to wake up?
Mobilegeddon.
And this is certainly like
Mobilegeddon, like yesterday.
Right.
That's funny.
This is certainly like my generation's version of that. Maybe a more positive version of Mobilegeddon, but really getting to get curious and figure out what's going to work and like go through all that trial and error before anyone can really like slap some best practices on any of this is a blast. I do have a question. Is anyone utilizing any tools to track AI visibility at this point? Have you found like a favorite yet?
I have tested dozen, maybe 20 of them. I'm now using Peak AI, but I'm also biased. We're working Peak, Peec AI. It just had an upgrade as well with lots of features. I mean, I do use them for my reports and tracking my clients. It's still not the base, like it's still third-party data. So they're still using like just any tool like that. They still use API. APIs are not people are seeing. It's not user facing. So because there's no personalization, so it's better than nothing. For my clients, how I explain that we are optimizing for the training data. Not exactly. So we will not know the actual answers. They are private. They're different for every user, but we need to make sure that you're positioned as the like foundation, the training data. Your brand is visible, known, and positioned well in that. So that is why I'm using the tool.
My only concern with it is that it's optimizing for prompts. And so I'll have to take some more look into it. But I mean, at least there is something, like you said, like it's something you can show them as far as that goes. It's going to be interesting because I think that attribution is the newest issue for SEO, right? And, we couldn't even count on Google to give us all the answers because they hid a lot of the data in the other traffic, right? You're just going right there. Going back to what Jade was talking about, I think that when you said the golden age was the wild, wild west. And there was very little honest marketing happening when it came to SEO. Like before I started back in 2007, right? And that was like, by the time I got into it, they had already started like basically downplaying list websites where you just had to be on a list with backlinks and just really idiotic crap. Like back when like porn sites would use keywords to trick you into getting onto their sites and stuff like that because Google was that dumb back then. The technology wasn't very smart. So I would consider that Mobilegeddon was actually the first, I would call that the Gilded Age. That was like when content actually had to start being like aimed at each audience. So like not all content was for all people. And so like you had to sit there and go, hey, are you a B2B? Do people actually look you up when they're on their phone versus on a computer? And making those decisions, really helped people understand what content to put out there. And I think now we're seeing the true golden age of search, where we actually have the actual blend between humans and robots using the same technology to find the answers they're looking for.
I started in 2004, even 3, I would say. By 2014, I was really penalized by Google. So I've been through all of that. Trust me, and that's why I'm saying, like, no, I do think that was the golden age of SEO because we were still very excited and innovative. We would still be doing new tools. SEMrush was launched just in front of my eyes and was getting better once they did. And it was really exciting. And at the same point, we started talking about search intent. We started talking about giving answers. We started talking about featured snippets. We started talking about answer engines in 2014, exactly when featured snippets were launched and people also asked. And we realized Google was not just search engine, it was giving answers. And that's where the whole term was. It's like 10 years old at this point. But yeah, it was much. And the good thing was that we could do something and see the results within 1 or 2 months, like actual results. We could make notes in Search Console saying this is when we launched this project and this is what it did. So it was really attribution. I mean, not that just traffic attribution, but making sure we knew what was working. And being able to show that to the clients was beautiful when you're like, this is what we did. This is the link building campaign we had, or like something, PR campaign we launched. And this is exactly the results. That's why I think that was the golden age when you really was able to say, this is what we did. And this is the result is we're no longer able to do that because first of all, it's becoming very cross-channel. It's not just Google. Secondly, like all those search features that AI overviews, AI mode have, there's no way to figure out when it was search, when it was that feature, what happened. And even like the average position in Search Console can be AI overview, can be organic until you start searching for that and figuring that out. Like every search query is different. So there's definitely a lot of that's happening that when we have to move in the dark at this point when we think that will work. There is no way to show if it did. But it's also going back to traditional marketing, I would say, like banner ads, all of those, like actual print ads, when there was no click attribution at all. We are spoiled by clicks for sure, because we've had a good run with them for more than 2 decades. But now we're going back to traditional marketing where radio ads, banner ads, when there's no way to tell which time worked. There's a delay between something happening and someone buying some stuff. So it's going back to traditional things for sure. And we will still be figuring this out. The client expectations are the worst because they're like, what's the ROI? Okay, I will invest in SEO for AI. What's ROI I'm going to expect? I'm like, are you kidding me? This thing is 2 weeks old. There is no ROI for sure. Like we will be doing our best. That's all I can promise. So it's a little bit weird all over the place.
Josiah, when did you get into SEO?
Well, it's funny that you brought up the mobile get in there because that was about the time that I started. So that was my first introduction into this sort of thing. And, I remember doing all kinds of content for that. And all of our client sites were super out of date and we had to fix a bunch of things. That was an interesting time. So that was fun to hear you guys talk about that because I remember that well. And even from that point till now, has really been a night and day difference. So it's been interesting to see how it's changed over the years. And like you said, Ann, I have seen, a lot of these things start to return where we are going a little bit more traditional now, and that's, we've actually started using Search Atlas. I don't know if you've messed with that yet, but, it's a good one out there. We're still testing with it, but it's pretty easy to use and gives some really good feedback as far as getting more into that AI type stuff. And we've actually gotten a few hits from that and converted them to projects and customers at this point. So we're still fine tuning that a bit, but it's been that's been a helpful tool as well. And I'm gonna check out the one that you had mentioned as well. But just to throw that one in there too.
Well, there is such a thing as fast, not too much, I would say. Well, when you're trying to do everything too quickly and overwhelm your internal team, your PR team, everyone, I like more gradual approach because it is accumulative. So it's like what you are doing should be scheduled well. If you don't need too many new pages every month, it's better to focus on what you already have. So I would definitely, did you see like there are lots of screenshots with programmatic SEO now? Like when ChatGPT was launched, everyone started writing content with ChatGPT and launching those thousands of new pages every month. So everyone's traffic started going up because of that. And now, 2 years later, we see all of this like drop to zero. So that's what doing too much, too fast, I would say. Everything should be much better planned, much better executed, much more gradual. So the programmatic SEO is probably, I would say, yes, too much, too fast. So probably that exists, too much SEO.
I would say that it's, when we say too much, I think that SEO for SEO's sake, which has been something that people have been, advising against, right? And I think now we are finally, like Ann was alluding to, the fact that, if you're using AI to write your content, you are going to be part of the noise. And that quality now, more than ever, we've always said quality, but nobody believed it. So everybody was still producing as much as they possibly can. And now, we even have adjusted like how the quantity of content versus the quality of content and the actual usefulness of it. But I also think that the conversion rate of your content is going to now become a higher priority in your strategy, because if you don't have a conversion off of that, a way to convert off of that, you're not going to have a second chance, because the chatbots don't answer the same way every time. Once they find a source, they don't use that same source over and over again unless it's in that chat, right? So you only have that one chance usually right now as it stands to grab that attention if they're in a commercial or transitional intent in their chat, right? The people who are getting the informational or the research intent, they're going to be stuck where they've always been, which is just part of the information, because I don't think that that's how people shop. Like they're going to get there, they're going to figure out what's wrong. That's great. But now we're not going to a web page to where it's like, oh, by the way, we have a solution for that. Hey, we can take you from information to commercial really fast. You're not going to see that now because it's not being fed to us that way. And so that's going to be the new challenge. And I think that's where the quality comes in as far as that goes.
Yeah. And I've seen to solidify both of what you said there. We've seen a lot of that quantity, so too much. And that's typically where they'll get the cheapest guy possible and end up with a couple thousand new backlinks that have a authority of 1 or 0 and a bunch of comments on, sites that have no relation to them whatsoever. And they're like, yeah, well, we've done all of this SEO work. We're doing really great. And we're taking a look at it. And I'm like, no, that's not going to do absolutely anything for you except you're going to spend money. So, so yes, in that aspect, definitely there is too much, and that quality really, really makes a difference. And like Ann said, it's all accumulative. So, so making sure that you're taking those right steps, and making sure that it's quality is really going to make that difference a couple months down the road or 6 months down the road, rather than, oh my gosh, we added, 2,000 backlinks this month and we've done so much. It doesn't matter. So, so that is definitely a huge focus for us lately. And we've seen a lot of that, unfortunately, where a lot of the professionals out there, I'm going to say professionals loosely, are still doing that, so that is their primary deliverable. And it's good for us and bad for us, because it's good that, we can get a new client and help them, but it's also bad that they're paying money out to something that's really not going to do absolutely anything for them. So
how many disavows you have to do to get rid of all that junk? And that's hilarious.
Oh my gosh. I don't even want to think about it.
I had a client who, right when AI was kind of taking hold and ChatGPT just came out, there was a lawyer in California who was talking to one of my clients, longtime client. And this lawyer's like, Chat, my AI can write 1,000 articles a day. And so I'll have 30,000 articles out there, blah, 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 blah. And I told him, I says, hey, listen, you can go down that road. Let me know how it works for you. And so we stopped doing content for them. We ended up still tracking it. And 6 months later, he'd actually fell off of the face of the earth when it came to SEO. And within a couple months, he was back to going, so about that, how can we fix all this? Well, we're gonna have to get rid of thousands of posts.
Everything that you've done.
Everything that was between that time we had the conversation to today, that's all going to go away now. And let's go back to what you were. And he's a wealth manager. You have so many things that are exposing yourself to when you have a highly regulated industry wealth advisory and finance. And so I don't know what he was thinking as far as that goes, but yeah. Crap in, crap out. One of my friends just said that AI just makes bad messaging faster.
That's yeah. Yep. I love it because I can see when I land on sites, I can immediately tell if that's what you've done. And I've even seen, paid ads that have been generated through that. And the first line of content's going to be just complete gibberish, blurred out gibberish or something like that. And I'm like, I get that you want to save money, but you have to do it the right way. Otherwise, it's just a waste of time.
Make sure you get plenty of M dashes in there.
Yep. Love those.
Well, sometimes, and that's a very common question when people ask me, how much content do I need to create every month? And I'm like, just as much as you can market properly. If you're just putting it on your website and not doing anything with it, not having any external signals, whether it's shares, clicks, whatever, you can do links, you just wasting everyone's time. So there's definitely one thing, too much content when you just put it there to be there without doing anything with it. Then it's too much for sure.
I think that the content can be more storytelling now. So we know that we don't have to keyword stuff, right? We have all of the tools now that allow us to just tell the story, right? And so if you do answer one of the questions, what's the next question? And I was just on social media magazine's podcast. I think it's called Social Media Marketing Podcast. And we were talking through it. Well, he made a article out of our interview. And it was really just the conversation. And each one of the H2s was a logical piece to the conversation. And I'm going to be tracking how well that does as far as the search engines, because it's amazing. It's genius, really, because it's simple. Have the conversation, write the conversation down, then format the conversation to where it is scannable. Because people don't read all your content. They're scanning down. And if you have the questions they're asking in a logical sequence, they're going to follow down. And I'm telling you, that scroll, the percentage of scroll is coming. It's going to be a metric that the bots are going to be concerned with, because that's the fastest way to figure out whether humans are consuming the content. So even if you do game the system with a bunch of high DA backlinks, and you have a bunch of great reviews, because there's ways to get reviews without it actually being reviews, but then people land on the content and it's crap, they're not going down as far as the ones that do find it useful and scrolling down to the bottom.
What do you guys think is actually moving the needle with AI visibility and also just with content now? Like, what do you think actually needs to be optimized for Google visibility with content, but also just in general with AI visibility?
I guess with the AI, like I said, I'm still, I guess, experimenting with that a bit. We have made some progress, like I was saying, with the search atlas. That's helped us guide a little bit as to kind of refining what those prompts are looking for. So that's been positive, and we have gotten some new customers through that. So that's for me, that's positive feedback, so we'll continue working with that. But then on the content side, we work with a lot of service providers. So, a lot of it's answering questions, and like Michael was saying, a lot of it's storytelling. If I, as a user, if I'm trying to learn about something or find a product, I need information about it. So if it's a service, taking those keywords that are related to that and building in those service pages, answering the questions that we find. We use answerthepublic.com frequently for some of that content and those questions, because it'll give us those queries, and that's a free tool that you can use. And building out that content, answering the questions that people are asking in the most direct way possible, like Michael was saying, again, without keyword stuffing, without doing all kinds of crazy backlinks and things hidden in the content. Just genuine content makes a huge difference, and I think that's where we're heading. A lot more, especially recently with Google. They've really, really put a focus on that. So that's made a big difference for us.
I would also add to that consistently relevant context that is going to move the needle. And I will give my example. I'm an SEO for more than 20 years. I've been doing so much different things in SEO. I'm not known for one particular thing. So I've been community manager for SEO platforms, search editor at Search Engine Journal, founder of guest blogging platform, guest blogger, whatever. So throughout all those different ages, I've been pivoting, and now there is no consistency in my footprint. So when you're asking LLMs for a top expert in something, I'm definitely not a well-positioned brand there. So I would have to go through all of my digital footprint and change everything to say one exact selling point that I have, like experience in SEO, been doing SEO for that many years, specializing in this and this. And when that happens and I'm well positioned in the training data, that's when I become the answer to questions. And when I look at the website, edit in many ways, it also about your website. I used to Google myself. Now I AI mode or ChatGPT myself. And I see very old, like my website, I forgot I even had the old bio when I'm founder of that, founder of this. Those websites do not even exist anymore. So I go back to my own website to change everything. And that works very fast, by the way. If you change you will see the change in a day or two in the LLM answers. I'm not sure about the training data for sure, but it is changing. So I were a brand looking to be part of the AI answer. And that's what I'm telling my clients too. You need to make sure your website, your social media channels, every mention on the website, around the web, has exactly your unique selling points. Who you target, how many years you've been in the business, your, US-based company or made in America, whatever you have to make it very obvious on your website. On your website, footers are back, by the way. They were a neglected SEO element for about 20 years now. Now they're back because they are site-wide. So LLMs see that whichever page they end up visiting of your website, they will see those things in the footer. I experimented with that myself. I put my bio in the footer of the website, which didn't exist there before. And it got picked up just like that. So just make sure you are known for something specific and you are known as the solution to specific problems of a specific target audience. And that's how you he become the answer of many types of relevant prompts. It's not about tracking some particular prompts to be sure. It's tracking if you are known for what you are being good at.
Yeah, being that expert has really made a change lately. I've noticed that as well.
Be known for one thing, right? Be a category of one is definitely there. I think that's going to be a big shift for a lot of service providers who try to be category hogs. And so we'll see where it comes from there. What I've seen technical SEO is definitely still at the forefront, and schema markups have become, where we used to think of schema markups for large websites and e-com, places where there was a lot of data that had to be crunched. Now a 5-page website needs a schema markup, right? And I've seen that huge dividends as far as that goes. And then back to backlinks. Backlinks done correctly are resurfacing. We almost said goodbye. A lot of people are like, it's such a small piece of the pie. But now that market share or voice share is a part of where bots decide who's the most sought after, those high DA, domain authorities for those who don't know, backlinks that are contextual. Back to Ann's point, it all has to be related, right? So we have found that partnering up with media where you have high DA in media is trusted resource, right? And you're getting talked about what you do best in that media, boom. Videos like this right here. If you want to be known for SEO, then you need to get on podcasts talking about SEO because chatbots love video, and they love video with more than one person. So you talking about it, like I have a podcast, a solo podcast, actually doesn't do me as much help as guesting on other people's podcasts where I'm interviewing, right? So omni-channel on the one, bringing back to what Ann said, one thing, be known for that one thing, right? And I say that in your marketing too. If you're going to market out there, market the one problem that you solve really well. The rest of everything you do will come through that point, what we call the pinpoint, or the single point of entry. And if you can make your whole ecosystem around that, the bots are going to have no choice but to, when somebody's asking the right questions and putting themselves in your crosshairs, you're going to be the one there.